This is the NIX Hydration Biosensor. It's supposed to measure your sweat, understand how much sweat you're losing, the individual single-use patches. Today I'm going to share what it's like, what's in the box, and how this thing works. There is a link in the description if you do plan to buy one that helps support the channel. No sweat. So inside the box, you're going to get scientific, personalized, actionable, convenient, the NIX Hydration Sweat Sensor inside of here. This is the charger. It's a USB-C powered. You put the sensor in here to charge this device. And then this little device comes out. Hey, come out. Oh, we might have to install it. So you have refill packs here, 4 biosensors attached. You take the pod and then you have patches and then the charging case and a cord, and you will stick the patch with the pod on your skin. You'll work out, use the NIX Hydration app to measure your sweat loss, and then you'll be able to get that information inside of the app. The tiny pod, it's single use. You have to buy every time you want to reuse and use it again. You buy a new $6 pod. It helps you dial in your hydration, understand how much sodium and sweat you're losing. Now, some of the downsides of this. I've had friends test it out and it falls off from just sweating too much because it's sticky. I've had issues with anything that's sticky, even like glucose monitors, where if I sweat a lot, it starts to fall off over time. So that's one thing to keep in mind. If you don't sweat as much, it'll stay on longer. They're using a proprietary patch to detect electrochemical biomarkers in your sweat as it flows through their microchannels. There are 2 pairs of electrodes that measure your ionic potential, electrical impedance at different locations. And it's going to measure every second from both electrode pairs. And there's a skin temperature sensor, accelerometer to provide additional context. And then the prod will process the raw data using the proprietary algorithms. Bicep placement correlates with this whole body sweat rate for extrapolation. So you'll measure on your bicep and then kind of understand generally how much sweat are you actually losing. And the first reading will appear after collecting just 4.5 microliters of sweat. It'll give you fluid loss rate, ounces per hour, total electrolyte loss, milligrams. So like if you need to take electrolytes, 1,000 milligrams. Sweat composition, electrolyte concentration, milligram per ounce. Sweat loss, specifically reported. And there'll be real-time data transmission that's sent from the NIX to the NIX Solo app every few seconds. It'll alert you when fluid or electrolyte thresholds have been reached, and you can choose the notification cadence. There's also Garmin and Apple Watch displays for metrics without your phone during your workout. And the pod will store the data locally. If Bluetooth connection disconnects, it'll sync later too. There's Apple Health, Training Peaks integration. So they've really been thorough with the app in terms of adding all these features. The app will also pull in weather data from nearby stations using your phone's GPS, combine temperature, humidity, wind speed, solar load, dew point, altitude, and now give you a 0 to 100 score predicting heat stress and sweat rate impact. And higher scores indicate greater likelihood of heavy sweating. And this will help predict hydration needs before starting your workout. So as you start testing, it starts to build a profile, and each workout logged will give more data to NIX in terms of being able to calculate your average sweat rate across different conditions. Temperature can impact how much you sweat. So then if I'm racing, running, working out in certain areas, how much water and how much sodium should I be taking to refuel and properly hydrate and know my right strategy. And if you're unsure before, this will teach you after the workout, how much should I take, how much water, how much sodium, and it will give you the best electrolyte products to match for your sodium rate loss. I know I lose a lot of salt. I think I've done like a test and it was like 2 grams, 3 grams in an hour. So I'm a heavy sweater and a heavy salt loser. So I need to make sure I'm taking enough. This is something I didn't realize. And for the Berlin and London marathons, it was very warm. So I really increased my electrolyte intake, and that helped to make sure I didn't cramp up during those situations. Cramping can also be a lot of other factors too, just to keep that in mind. And there will be a link down in the description. If you click that, it'll help support the channel. Now, in terms of the pod size, it is kind of the size of an Apple Watch, as you can see, maybe a little bit smaller. It uses USB-C charging to charge. You get 36 hours of continuous use per charge. It uses Bluetooth to your smartphone or ANT Plus for Garmin devices and bike computers. There's Apple Watch compatibility, and it's a medical grade kinesiology tape adhesive. It's latex free, single use, so you're not causing inaccuracies with the data. And you need to work out at least 45 minutes minimum to get active sweat data. It supports running and cycling indoor outdoor. It is UCI approved for professional cycling race day use as of January 2025. And there are actually group monitoring. So there's a NIX Pro app. So as a coach, you can monitor all your athletes. It's used by the NBA, NHL, NFL, MLB teams. There's a TerraCycle recycling partnership where you can recycle the single use patches. So there's a lot of cool things that you can learn about your hydration while using the NIX Hydration. Some issues: it only supports running and cycling, indoor, outdoor. So no strength training, swimming, hiking, team sports, no climbing, rowing, other endurance sports. And as a triathlete, you can't wear it during the swim portion. So just something to keep in mind. The expanding the activities has not been updated in terms of are they going to do that in the future? So we don't know. The Apple Watch requires running the NIX app to prevent simultaneous use of other workout apps. The Garmin Connect IQ data field has limited functionality compared to the phone app. So there are some downsides. And then if you're accustomed to using workout data, you're forced to choose between these. The Garmin integration improved, but it's still not seamless. And then the Apple Watch app, you have to use their Apple Watch rather than like the workout app. So that's kind of a big miss for me. I'm just going to use the iPhone app then, and then my workout app on the Apple Watch. And then there's environmental limitations. So right now it's cold in New York, so you can't use it when it's below 40 degrees Fahrenheit, below 4 degrees Celsius, because it can prevent sweat detection. Skin temperature changes from pace changes can interfere with the readings. The patches can occasionally fail, so it can waste the $6 sensor. Sunscreen, bug spray, anything on your sweat, if you apply it first, that can impact the readings. So you want to apply the patch before you do any of that. And then you have to place it on your bicep because the algorithm is based on bicep sweat rate to kind of correlate whole body sweat rate. So they're using algorithms to take a sample set from here and then kind of figure it out there. So you kind of have to trust that the algorithm is doing things correctly. It's not waterproof, so it can handle sweat, but not swimming. But if you're an extreme sweater, like it might fall off early. And then the kit itself is $129 to $132. Includes the pod, the charging case, the cable, and 4 patches. But you can buy 4 patches for $25 to $26 or a 12 pack for even cheaper. Now, is this worth it? I think if you're someone who wants to understand their sweat, like it might be worth it to do, for a month, and you kind of get an idea of different temperatures, environments, workouts, intensities. Where do I fall? Am I taking enough water and electrolytes? And then adjusting from there. But over a long period of time, I don't think it's necessary for most people. So it's just something to think about. Can be valuable to get the baseline information, and then you don't need it anymore. Where it's like, can we just borrow like a friend's and do that and like pass it around our friend group? That's, I think, where you get the most value. But if you're an athlete who needs to track hydration for every workout and you're like, I want to make sure I'm optimized, then this could also be valuable for you too. So we'll have a link down below. Click the link, help support the channel. Nick's Hydration did send this to me. If you want more in-depth review questions, let me know in the comments below.